Oh, that's good. What you got there?
These are our new t-shirts that are now available for sale at this address here. Right, Harley Crossbones tank off of the Alfie Valentine Wars bike. The owner Ben bought it to us because it's suspected fuel pump not working, wasn't running. A good clean up in general, a few other bits and pieces, but took the tank apart. So we take the lid off. All of that, and that, all goes inside that tank.
Wow.
This is full of vinegar, white vinegar at the moment. It was a bit sort of rusty, but it was more powder. So you put white vinegar in them, leave it for a couple of days, swish them around, just dish it, because it's a very mild acid.
Okay.
Robin found it, I didn't have a clue.
Ah, okay.
But we've got to do Tim Foster's tanks as well, so we've got another 5 litres to do that.
Why was this tank so heavily rusted on the inside?
Well, all fuel has water in it.
Right.
There's always a trace of water, or condensation or whatever. I think it was left outside. Not that a tank would leak, but you get hot, cold, and it's been left a long time.
So it would separate, and then that condensation would
You'd
cause
always
rust.
get anything you leave in a petrol tank is not a good idea.
Yeah.
So take this plate off, and then everything there you have to wiggle inside. That one there, that's your fuel filler. Okay. It's got a link pipe between the two sides. So what you do is you do that up, and push that down. My hands are dirty now, but basically you twist it and it locks it in there.
Okay.
So then it just pops up when you unclip it. That one is a fuel gauge. It's got blue lights in it.
Oh, okay.
So like 5 blue lights is full up. They're an aftermarket fixture.
Do they work?
Yeah.
Because a lot of fuel gauges on bikes are just...
Roughly, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's a fuel gauge on the dash cluster as well. It's just that's a sort of aftermarket bit. Right, so you can see this was all rusty, yeah? And that was, but it's got the worst of it off. Yeah?
Okay.
So, that's your outlet pipe. Comes down to your fuel outlet, because this is fuel injection. It's probably running about, I would say, about 70 psi, whereas like Harley WLA and UL, they're just gravity fed.
Yeah.
Like 1 psi. These, because it's fuel injected, it's run probably about 70 psi, I would have thought. So all of that dust and crap that was in there, that's your filter, is at it. Yeah. So that's gone up inside the pump. Pump doesn't turn. That's it. It's at it. So that one wiggles in that side. And you see those clips there. There, and there. Yep. So that bit there must go that way. Yeah, because that's your clip there to hold that. So your pump wiggles in that side. Yep. Slides in, and they go down onto those, yeah? Yeah. So that holds that in there. That's your pump side. Then it goes, that bit there clips in there somehow. That way up, I think, yeah, like that. So you've got an inlet and an outlet pipe. So it'll come from the pump in and out into that one. And that's your pressure regulator. So we believe. Fuel pressure regulator, yeah?
What's a fuel pressure regulator do apart
just
from regulate the pressure?
It maintains constant fuel pressure for the injection system.
Okay.
Well, I believe that's what it is. I'm pretty sure it is. So that's that bit. There's no electrics on it, so it's literally just a valve of sorts. That goes in there somewhere, and that is your breather for the petrol tank, yeah? So you've got a tube there, goes onto there, and yeah, dude, it vents to the top of that there, look, see? So that's the other side of the breather tube. So he sits in there, crankcase breather, that'll be a vapour trap, yeah? So it comes out of that tube, goes into that tube, and then vents down the side of the tank somewhere. That lot plugs into there, that's all pretty simple. Bang, 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 bish, bosh, bang. That one goes to, so when that's dropped in there, yeah, that's your electrics into the tank. That one sits on there, that'll go in on that, hold it on those 4 pins.
Yep.
That one goes to earth, so then that one, this clips on the other side. On here, there's another clip in there. That goes in that way, I can't think it's that way up. And that's your fuel sender level, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
So that clips into that other part of the wiring on there. And it all just fits in there snugly. You've got a push-pull valve on, well, not a valve, a connection on there that goes down into the main injection body. So what you got to basically hope and pray is none of the shit in the bottom of that tank has got past that point. Because if it's come up through there, through everything there, which I doubt it very much, it's probably just jammed the motor up and that's the end of that. But if it has got into the injection unit, it'll be new injectors, because all that crud in there, it'll never clear itself.
When will you know?
The minute you try and start it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because it should just whir up the pump, you should build up pressure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, it just goes donk. So it's obviously crap's got into the pump, sees the fuel pump.
When you put power to it, wouldn't you hear that?
Yeah, that one just goes donk, that's it. So the new, all this comes apart, look, you get a new filter, all that just clamps. That's your pump, the metal bit inside. Pull your pump out, put the new filter, new pump in there, drop that in there first, plug everything, it's all snap fit, it's all push and, you know, plug and play. So yeah, just put all of that back together once it's obviously washed out properly. And then when you turn the ignition on, they go zzz, you can hear them, and then they normally build up. Once they've got up to pressure, they just stop. There's a pressure sensor in them. So that cuts out, and then should be ready to start it. Typical Harley, on the injection Harleys, don't ever give them any throttle. Don't, just press the start button, don't, because it should, the brain, the ECU that runs everything should just make it fire straight up. Yeah, don't give it any throttle because it confuses all the electronics in them.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just a matter of waiting for the new fuel pump to turn up, flush that tank out. The longer you can leave that vinegar in there, the better, just to give it a chance to activate, you know. And then nail it all back together. Yep, okay, go for it. Right, there isn't a specified end play. When you assemble the countershaft, yeah, this spring here sits in the end against the back bush in there and preloads everything that way, yeah. So when you assemble it, you take that out. When you're checking it, you take that spring out, yeah. You don't have to have these on. That's your kicker starter clutch, providing that basically that square edge there, yeah, on that raised lip isn't badly worn or chewed up. That washer there, those roller bearings there, that washer there, that washer there, that washer there, and those roller bearings there, you check the diameter, you check the width of all of them. They're all those two are the same. I think they're 180 thou F. Yeah, 180 thou for those two. G, your rollers are 3/4 of an inch long, or 750 thou. Yeah, so that, check all those, you know they're right. J is 92 thou thick. okay, that washer. K, they are 3/8 of an inch. I think that's just 3/8. I can't, my eyes are terrible. Hang on. Get the right pair on. Oh, look, I can see 5/8 of an inch, not 3/8 of an inch. So L is then 80 thousandths of an inch thick. So providing all of those are correct, yeah? Put all of that together. You have no shim on that side, it just literally butts in to the end of the casing in there. There's a phosphor bronze bush in there, okay? And then that bush in that casing there, that's the only other thing that can wear. Now when you put that together, making sure your gasket's on, tighten it up to final assembly, you can reach through the top of the gearbox and you can feel how much end float there is. I mean, if it's like 1/4 of an inch or something stupid, then it's added. Either this is chewed up, where your bearings sit on that washer sits on there. So that's the only thing that can mess up on the counter shaft. All of these can be the wrong thickness. It's quite common for the 180s to be wrong. So providing all of those measure up to spec, that shoulder on the end of that counter shaft isn't mullered, isn't chewed to death. The only other thing it can be is the bush in the casing there, or the bush in the cover plate there. You know, as long as you can spin it and it moves, that's fine.
Okay.
You know, but you don't want it. You can get away with probably 20 thou, you know, because it all moves, but you don't want it clanging like that. Yeah, there isn't a specified end play, I don't think. Yeah, it just says install counter shaft gear and starter clutch assembly. Refer to figure 95, correct order of assembly for counter shaft gear and starter clutch assembly. Items E to P inclusively. Install clutch gear, install roller bearing. Then it says adjust the main shaft end play. Yeah, it doesn't actually say anything about it, but as long as it isn't really flapping about, it's fine. Like I say, the only things that can be wrong are those spacer washers, needle rollers, or the 2 end bushes, or I'll show you a counter shaft that's added. That's what we mean by mullered. So if the diameter is more than 1/1000th of an inch out, you can get oversized bearings for them, but that is completely mullered. That's add it. And see that edge there is running that way, and it's lipped back over that way. Yeah, that should be a dead square machined face, 90 degrees, bang, bang. Yeah, with no overlap there. This thing is literally just chewed to death. This is off that worst gearbox in the world ever. So providing that's got a square edge there, these aren't too worn there, because that'll give you up and down wobble. Yeah, that sits on that shouldered face there on that bearing, which can wear out, but if it hasn't got that spring in it, it will chew the bearing, chew the phosphor bronze cut bearing. So it needs that spring to push it back that way. So providing all your spacer washers are right, that's a terminal length, fixed length. That's the only other thing it can be. Sometimes when you push a new bush in where the kickstart goes through, sometimes I've had to put them on a mill and just shave them off because they're too tight. Yeah. Not very often they're too tight, but that's just bad reproduction parts. But as I say, as the guy says, there isn't any specified end play, just providing nothing catches, it turns okay, and it's not banging up and down like a loony, you know?
Yeah.
That's it. But obviously when you check it, because you haven't got the spring in, you need to pull it all this way. Yeah?
Yeah.
When you check it. And then reassemble it with your spring in.